Welcome back to the Football Terrace. This is the Bet Victor Top 6 show. What a weekend of Premier League football we had. Goals, shocking results, takeover parties being crashed by Tottenham. The Champions League kicks off this week as well. Arsenal versus Palace this evening to delve into also. Lots to digest, lots of your opinions we want to get as well. And we have a star-studded cast on the terrace this evening that I'm very, very excited to introduce to you right about now. First of all, back as let's get the regulars out of the way first. Daniel, first of all, back here, ready to go. Chelsea top of that league. Anita's in the house after a very busy day. I've been keeping up with the Instagram stories, inspirational stuff. Jesse's here getting ready for the build up to the big Arsenal game against Crystal Palace. But we have some special guests on with us today. We couldn't talk about Ollie leaving Man United without getting one of our alumni back tonight. Aaron is here with us today to give us his take, his views and his opinions on all things Man United and the Prem. And covering Liverpool, one of the best podcasts out there, Gav from the LFC Day Trippers joins us live on the Football Terrace this evening. Make sure that like button's been hit. You've subscribed to the Football Terrace. You've got bell notifications turned on and all that jazz. Without any further ado, I'm going to bring the crew on now. Let's do this. Evening, everyone. How are we all? Good. Nice to have you back, Gav and Aaron. Nice to have you both back.
Thanks for having us back.
I know it's been a minute, Gav, for yourself. Really, it's been a while.
Yeah, I upset you quite a bit, so you don't let me on. But I'm glad you got over that. I don't know what upset you over.
No, I don't think you did. I know. I just thought Sonny had better opinions. But...
Really? Okay. Now you're upsetting me.
Sorry, my guy. Yeah, it's good to have you back, and Aaron as well. It's a tough weekend. A tough weekend for United fans, eh?
You would.
Can't hear you, bro.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, sorry. I was saying it's not been a great weekend for all of us, United fans around the world. And it's not going to be a good month either for us, because you look at the fixtures and you see what happened against Leicester and you think, are we really going to survive this? Probably not, but I guess we'll get into it now.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to delve into Manchester United that little bit later on in the show. But some big sort of news this afternoon in relation to Liverpool has come out. And it's there is reportedly a new deal that is fairly close to being done and getting over the line for Mo Salah at Liverpool. £400,000 a week is the quoted amount that's been pushed out by the Telegraph and Anfield Watch. I want to go to Gav first on that. You know, he's in the most scintillating form probably of his career at the moment, with the quality, the level of goals, the creativity, critical acclaim everywhere. 400 grand a week though. Are you happy for Liverpool and FFG to invest that amount of money into Mo Salah at the age that he is, turning 30 in the summer? Do you think that's a good piece of business for you?
Absolutely. Look, there's going to be a lot made of £400,000 a week. I think it's £21 million a year, which will be 84 million over the course of a contract. He's just phenomenal. He's a phenomenal player. He's doing this since the summer of 2017 at Liverpool. And before that, I suppose, in fairness, he done bits of Fiorentina and Roma. But you look at him, Terry, like if I said to you, well, I'm not paying him 400 grand a week, but I'm going to replace him, how much are you paying? Because if you go out and try to replace Mohamed Salah, you're probably going to spend somewhere around... Now, Liverpool are known for bringing in players like Salah at 34 million quid and making them into the player they are today. But, you know, to replace that sort of guaranteed, which is guaranteed numbers he's given you now over the last four seasons, you're looking at a £200 million deal over the course of a contract, if you include wages and you include bonuses and whatever way it's structured. So the whole thing about him turning 30 isn't a concern for me. Look at him, you know, like he's not running around. He's not on a John Smith ads, you know, launching a ball, you know, in the mud like Peter Kay. He's an absolute athlete. He just gets stronger and stronger for me. He gets better and better for me. And, you know, I don't want to make comparisons with Messi and Ronaldo and stuff like that, because they're the greatest two players of their generation. But if you look at Salah, it's arguable to say that he's coming into his prime at 29, 30. And if you can at 29 give him a 4-year deal, or a 5-year deal that brings him to 34, I'm more than willing to take that gamble on Mohamed Salah over the next 4 to 5 seasons. And put that money up there and say to him, if he's giving you 25 to 30 goals a season, which he does, he'll more than pay that back. And the thought of trying to replace him is probably the biggest thing for me. It's just it's monumental money. I don't know how true the 400 grand a week is. I'm going to be honest with you. It seems a very steep number for Liverpool and FSG to pay wages wise. We all know how they work. They have a policy with regards to wages and money they spend and stuff like that. But it's very hard to argue he's not worth it, Harry. And if it comes in at 340, 350, 370, 400, that's what it comes in at. And people will turn around and say, well, what will it be like for the dressing room? Look, there's not one person in that dressing room telling him that he doesn't deserve that. If hand on heart, I don't think there is. I don't think there's a player, I don't think there's a person out there that could tell you he's not worth that sort of money. When you look at comparison to what others are being paid in this league and other leagues around the world, he's the best player in the world right now. And if he asks for 400 grand a week and they give it to him, it's no one else's business. That's it. The deal is done.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Anita, when you look at Mo Salah, like, I know how much you respect him. I've seen the tweets and everything else in the past. There have been a lot of deals in recent years where players have been given these huge pay increases, but yet the performances haven't then kind of matched it. Do you think there's any chance of Mohamed Salah potentially falling into that category?
No, I don't think there's any chance in hell that Mohamed Salah will fall into that category. And it's one of those ones where I totally agree. I just feel like if that's the amount that he's demanding at the moment, you've just got to give it to him because he's the best player in the world right now, and he's showing it. He's putting his money where his feet are, and it's just so evident that his form is not yet going to dip. I think at the moment he's at his prime, and him being at his prime means that you've got to bring out the big money. And imagine having to try and find a Mohamed Salah replacement. You're so right. You're going to spend heaps of money doing that, when you might as well just give him that little bit of a pay rise. And there are people in the Premier League who earn just as much as what Salah is demanding, and then they're not putting in performances week in, week out the same way Mohamed Salah is doing it. I don't predict Mohamed Salah to drop form anytime soon. If anything, him being given this money will probably make him want to perform even more for Liverpool. So yeah, man, just give the man his money. I don't want to see him go to like a Barcelona and waste his talent over there. Let's keep him in the Prem. Let's keep him here as long as we can. And if Liverpool have the peas, then they should do it. I'm not being funny. I was hearing rumors that Rudiger's asking for 400,000 a week. I'm like, you can kick rocks then. Like, you can actually get out of my club. If it was someone like Mohamed Salah asking for £400k a week, then that's fine.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to disagree that Mo Salah is, if he isn't the best player in the world on current form, he's certainly the best in the Premier League right now with the way that he's performing and playing. And the fact that, yes, Watford are not as good as oppositions as Man City, but he scored the same world-class goal 2 weekends running. I actually don't remember that happening in the Prem, where someone scored like an outrageous goal that's got trended globally. And then they do it like Rooney didn't go and score an overhead kick a weekend later. Do you know what I mean? Hazard's great goals. They come and they happen regularly in their careers, but it's like, you actually look at it when you watch these sort of anthology of goals come out, and it's okay, well, there's like 18 months between those two, like, time-stopping goals. Yeah, he's killing it right now. And yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, Anita. Like, you can't replace him. He's almost, the only way you replace him is by dropping silly money on somebody like Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe's and Haaland's and players like that, they're the only ones who are going to come in and be able to potentially score as many goals. That's it. Like, so he's almost impossible to replace right now. The only way I think you can actually do it is by giving him that deal and slowly nurturing some younger player through behind him. So by the end of it, you're kind of ready to do a switchover. Otherwise, it's costing you 150 to 200 million pounds to replace him just on a fee.
That's exactly it, Terry. Because we spoke all summer about, well, Liverpool fans did, about bringing in an attacker and who do we bring in, and Haaland and Mbappe and stuff like that, mad stuff. But I always thought the next attacker that would come into Liverpool would be someone in 23, 24 years of age. That forward planning is always the words that you use. And you bring them in and they get games over a year or two, and then you look at Mane and Salah and Firmino or whatever, and you say, right, one of them may have to go, one of them may have just fallen off a cliff, and this fella's ready to come in and do that. And you're guaranteed nothing with nobody. Regardless of how much money you drop, like, you don't know Mbappe is brilliant and Haaland is brilliant. They're probably the two exceptions. But anybody outside of that, you're not guaranteed. You can spend all the money you want, but you're just never going to be guaranteed that. And I think people will look at this and go, "Oh, will he be 34?" I think it's brilliant forward planning by Liverpool to pay him, and I genuinely believe that because I think they're putting as much guarantee as they can on a player for the next 3 to 4 seasons, which actually gives them time to find his replacement or find a replacement for somebody in that front three. It's a no-brainer. It's just like if Liverpool, could you imagine if Liverpool don't give him that deal and he goes and he leaves? What does it do to Liverpool fans? And not only that, what's it do to his teammates who've signed deals and turn around and go, I've signed a deal, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, Trent, I've signed deals expecting this guy to stay, and now you're selling them. It doesn't do you good for the squad as a whole anyway. So look, I think he does sign it. I think it'll be done, and when it's done, it's one of the biggest contract renewals you've ever seen at Liverpool, ever.
Absolutely. You had a question, Dan?
Yeah, just ask a question. Obviously, look, I mean, I think everyone's kind of on the same page when it comes to Mo Salah, but I do think the age thing is definitely something to, if there was one thing to maybe question it, the age definitely comes into it. And obviously, I think Liverpool have been renowned in recent times, especially to know the right time to move a player along, if that makes sense. So when you look at guys like Coutinho, I would even say to a degree, I mean, some fans might argue that you miss Wijnaldum. I don't really think you do. As long as everyone's playing right now, I think it's less so about missing Wijnaldum. It's more so about the fact that the depth isn't where you want it to be, rather than it being Wijnaldum. So you've known when to maybe let a player go along. You don't think maybe taking the money on him now, like it's just a question anyway. I'm not.
Yeah, I understand completely where you're coming from, and the Wijnaldum one is an interesting one because the talk around Wijnaldum is that he was on 70 grand a week. He was looking for north of 150 grand a week, and Liverpool didn't feel that was viable at 30 years of age and stuff. And Salah's in a similar age, but Salah's a different level to Wijnaldum. He's just I don't mean to sound patronising when I say this. I don't know if enough people know how good this fella is. He's just that good. I watch him week in, week out. I see him live at Anfield, and he's just unbelievable. And not even the goals he scores, the work rate from him is just. He just does everything for you. He's Liverpool's talisman. It'd be literally like Steven Gerrard in his prime, and Liverpool just turn around going, "You're not getting a contract, and you're out." And they nearly done that. And you've seen how badly it nearly went for them when he nearly went to Chelsea 2 summers in a row. Doing this, I think it'd be actually nearly worse because of the amount of goals he scores. It has to happen. It just has to.
Totally agree. Yeah, Coach Ken, go on.
Sorry, can I just add? Yeah, even with the whole age thing, him being 29, etc. I personally feel like this is kind of the time where you see players at. Do you know when like people say you age like fine wine, like that's Mohamed Salah. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not a thing. Him being 29, right now is better than a 25-year-old's career at the moment. Do you get what I'm saying? Like losing Mohamed Salah means you lose possibly 30 goals a season, and you don't want that, regardless of his age, regardless of whether the board think okay he's too old to be earning this amount of money. Losing 30 goals a season, it's not worth it at all. So 400,000 for a player who is probably the best player in the world right now. Like if it was Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, we would not even be having this conversation. It will not even be in the newspaper. Just be like, yeah, let's just give him the deal, and it should be the same thing for Mohamed Salah, despite his age.
Completely and utterly agree. Viewers, we want your views and opinions on Mo Salah. Is he worth that amount of money in your opinion? Get your comments in. We'll be touching on Mo Salah a little bit later in the Champions League previews as well. We're going to move on to talk about Oli, but there has been some breaking news in the last 5 minutes in terms of Manchester United's pursuit of a potential new manager. According to this Italian outlet, now this was the Italian outlet. I'm just going to highlight their names so you can see them here. I'm not going to try and pronounce it and embarrass myself. They were the first outlet to report that Cristiano Ronaldo would be leaving Juventus. Ronaldo did his whole shush thing on Instagram and everybody shut it down as being a lie. But they've reported that Antonio Conte to Manchester United is now gaining pace. That is the report coming out of Italy as things stand right about now. I'm not necessarily saying that every Man United fan is going to be happy with Antonio Conte, but the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer appears to be almost in universal agreement amongst Manchester United fans, as you can see. With our partners today, Bet Victor, you can see the four main sort of favourites to land that job: Conte, Rodgers, and Poch, as you can see there. Their odds are on the screen to land that role, to be the next Manchester United manager, as it were. This news has come out, so I'm sure to see the Conte odds shorten very quickly. From your side of things, Aaron, you hear Antonio Conte gaining pace to joining Man United. Like, how do you feel about that piece of news?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised, to be honest. I didn't think it would start to gain pace now because he hasn't been sacked yet, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised, to be honest. Like, I don't know what to say right now, but I think I've said it a lot of times. I'm not Conte's biggest fan. But if you bring someone in like a Conte, I think with this squad, you will challenge for a title. That's for sure. If you give Conte a ready-made squad like ours, you will challenge. That's 100% for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and do you worry, though, that that's too much short-term thinking from Man United, in the sense of trying to win a trophy now, as opposed to bringing in the right managers to play the right style of football that we want? Or are you just in the case of that he's a winner? I don't know the exact stat, but it's something like 6 of the last 7 seasons where he's started the season as manager, he's won the Premier League. Is that more important than the right way of playing?
Well, first of all, we have to bring back the mentality of winning trophies, and I think Conte is the right man to do that. And what people have to understand as well, because I think a lot of people are trying to force this narrative that you have to go back to what Sir Alex Ferguson did and stay at our club for 20 plus years. That doesn't exist anymore. Like, people need to get that out of their heads. Managers barely stay for 5 years now. Like, it's a 5-6 year thing and then they move on. And it's not wrong for a manager to stay for 2-3 seasons and move on to something else or get sacked. It's a normal thing now. People think that you still have to have a manager that's going to stay for 15, 20 years and do the same thing that Sir Alex Ferguson did, same thing that Arsene Wenger did. Like, those days are over now. Managers stay for a short period of time. When I say short, I mean like 5-6 years, and then they move on. So maybe people just need to get used to that. This whole 15, 20 year thing is done. It's finished.
Yeah, mate, I agree. The 15, 20 year thing is bang on. It's about a club for me having an ethos and a mentality. You know, you'd ask a Liverpool fan this, the way they play under Klopp, like if Klopp leaves next week, which he isn't, and then they went to an Antonio Conte or a Diego Simeone, would that be the right direction in terms of how the club's been used to playing? When you see this news, Jess, obviously Arsenal were linked with Antonio Conte only 4 or 5 weeks ago, and things weren't looking so rosy at Arsenal. What's your take on this news? And I suppose the big question today is, do you see Ollie surviving the end of this week or the end of this month?
I mean, he's always linked to the club that has a manager that's under some pressure. So, because I mean, that's the biggest way to get clicks, is to link a club next to somebody that people are looking to see what his next job is going to be. So this gaining pace and all of that, for me, seems a little bit premature, because you have Atalanta and Liverpool coming up. If you lost both of those games, maybe I could see it from there. But I would say just losing to Leicester, I think they're going to give him some more time, because I'm just not convinced that they're ready to pull the plug on Ollie just yet. I think they want to give him some time to maybe get some things together, maybe get some wins under his belt. I still believe he's the type of manager that, well, one, I think that the team respects him enough not to down tools. If you see them downing tools, then yeah, you guys are in trouble. But I mean, there's also the aspect of, if you guys go ahead and lose these next 2 games in the Champions League, and you sack the manager, what if you guys are in Europa League? You know, so it's kind of one of those where it's like, I can see after the next 2 matches, maybe they starts gaining pace, but I still think they're willing to give Ole enough time to try to get it together. So I think it's more clickbait at the moment. And then, you know, just kind of going back to the Conte thing, I don't see why Manchester United fans are so like, well, Antonio Conte doesn't fit the ethos and all of this kind of stuff. Like, the ethos is to win, you know, and to win as quickly as possible, you know. So for me, I don't understand why it'd be a big deal with this ready-made squad. I think he could get something out of it. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I see you nodding your head there, Neat. So you agree with what Jess is saying there?
I don't think people understand who Antonio Conte is, bro. Like, I just hate the disrespect. Like, I remember when he was even linked with Tottenham and the Tottenham fans were disrespecting him. I'm just looking at it like, okay, is he a long-term manager? No. Are we in a world where we have long-term managers? Like Aaron rightfully said, no, we are not. It's unfortunate, but that's just the facts right now. Unfortunately, Klopp is leaving soon. Yeah, Klopp, his time, his days are numbered. He's gonna go soon as well. Listen, if you want to win now, if you want to win next season, you bring in Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte will do it for you, whether you like him or hate him. It's like a Jose Mourinho flex. If you want to win right now, whether you like him or hate him, bring in Jose Mourinho. He'll get you something. And Antonio Conte, you got to remember, he came to Chelsea one season and won the Premier League. The Premier League, like, it's not even just a measly FA Cup, a measly Carabao Cup, a whole Premier League in his first season here. Juventus, look at Inter Milan. His track record speaks for itself. So when a man like Antonio Conte is linked to your club, you smile and you take it on the chin and you say, all right, this is going to be a successful 1 to 2 years, and you leave it as that. Yeah, just let everything pan out the way it's meant to pan out. But I'm kind of with Jess here. That it's just a little bit of clickbait at the moment. You know, United just lost 4-2. I'm not sure if we've emphasized that enough, but yeah, United just lost 4-2 to Leicester, and they're currently just a bit shaky at the minute. But yeah, man, it's just a bit of clickbait. But I'll be so jealous if he comes to Man United. Very jealous.
I look at it a different way though, in terms of, not that I disagree, but I sit on the other side of the fence in terms of how clubs approach things. And I think one thing that I definitely believe in is structure and what you're working towards as a club. One of the things that Chelsea suffered from, not in terms of like the ethos was all about winning, but we did suffer from continuity in terms of like there were different players that had to be moved on when they should have stayed, for example. And there were situations in which things could have been, if a better structure was in place at the time, we wouldn't have suffered certain things. Like, for example, people always say, I always think if there was a bit of stability about Chelsea, we would never have lost Kevin De Bruyne and Mohamed Salah. I think that level of talent never loses place within a club if there's a bit of stability and continuity. Look, as a Man United fan, I agree in terms of the fact that you need to win right now. Something about mentality, the players I don't think have that mentality at the moment. But in terms of what you've been building, in terms of the players that you've been signing, it doesn't speak towards Antonio Conte, in my opinion. You look at the Jadon Sanchos, the Marcus Rashfords of the world, and you look at the squad. One sec, let me land. You look at the squads that Antonio Conte has had at his disposal. He's never really used the squad that Man United have right now. I mean, we might see Marcus Rashford play right wing back. It'll be interesting to see if he can perform in that position. But if we're honest, like, Antonio Conte probably does come in and win Man United something, and I'm not disputing that. However, I think in the way that Man United as a club have been trying to run things, they're basically saying we're starting a new plan. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, with the personnel that you brought into your club, I don't necessarily think those are Conte players.
Daniel,
I just say?
I just want to say really quick that the manager market is quite dry. I don't know if you guys have been looking around, but there's not a lot of great managers out there. You're talking about the Ten Hags and, you know, these other types of, I don't really think that that's what Man United needs. And like Zidane, I feel like is just not a manager. I think he's waiting for the France job. I really do. I don't think he's going to stop anywhere else until he gets to that French national team job. So would I rather have Conte or some other guy that may fit with the ethos a little bit better and be willing to build up? Conte is your best freaking option with the team that you have right now.
Do you know what though? I literally see it from both sides, and that's not me sitting on the fence because I will give an opinion. The problem is there may have been someone that plays a more attractive, fashionable way. So maybe Ten Hag as an example, or Nagelsmann, or whoever it is. Maybe Man United have said, you know, in 18 months' time or a year's time, 2 years' time, this guy we think is going to be perfect for us. The problem is that I don't think we've got the luxury to wait that long with the way Ollie's making us play. And sometimes you do have to deviate. The only thing I'm concerned about, and the thing with Antonio Conte is this, is he long term, more than say 3 or 4 years? His record says no. But that's only like if the Chelsea ball would have given him what he wanted, he may still be there. If Inter Milan hadn't hit the financial trouble they were in and would told him they were going to sell some of his best players, he wouldn't have left Inter Milan. So sometimes I feel he gets a little bit of a bad rap for things that are not necessarily his fault, as it were. You know, if he doesn't get what he's promised, he leaves. I also think he could be the right manager to completely expose the Glazers to a lot of the fans that still want to focus on players or managers as being because I still don't. One thing with me is I don't necessarily think whoever we pick is going to make us, not Man United of old, and make us dominate like we did in the Fergie peak era, because I think that's gone now in football. Too many teams have money and class players and managers. But I don't necessarily think that all our troubles are behind us just because we have a world-class manager. We've seen in the past that's not always the case. But I wouldn't say he's not my first choice or anything. But if we got Antonio Conte, I'm not going to cry and be upset and be like, no, it isn't the right football. The right style of football for Man United is winning. It may not be my preference, but as long as we're winning football matches, I don't really care. Year one, first 18 months under Jose, I didn't care that our football wasn't the best in the league because I saw progression. It then fell off the edge of a cliff very quickly, as an example. But it was better than the LVG era where the football was nicer, but we just were boring. We barely won anything. We scraped an FA Cup against Crystal Palace in a final. So, you know, and look at Ollie. Like, the football at times is definitely more attacking. We have more of the ball. But look where we are. Look where we are. We're not moving forward in the right way. So I agree. I'm not too sure the validity of this story yet. It's the second or third kind of publication that spoke about early conversations or gathering pace with Antonio Conte. I think we've got to wait and see what happens this week. The one thing I am sure on is all this nonsense I've seen today from certain outlets where they've been briefing what the club have said around he's safe and they're backing him. They're a little bit disappointed, but they're backing him. I spent about 2 hours last night Googling managers who have been sacked full name. Antonio Conte's job is safe. Jose Mourinho's job is safe. LVG's job is safe. Brendan Rodgers' job is safe. Same headline, same words. It literally is the same thing. So any football fan that's gone, but my favourite journalist said that he's safe. He's repeating what the football club have told him. He is not giving you his opinion or her opinion. Ignore it. If we get battered by Liverpool on Sunday, they embarrass us, they will sack him. The one thing about the Glazers, which I don't think that's a good thing, but one of the journalists I spoke to yesterday said their biggest concern at the moment is how they're being memed and embarrassed online. They care about the brand. They're not doing it because they want us to win. They want the brand to look good. And remember this, if we get battered by Liverpool this week and we sack Ollie, before we sack him, share price is going to do this. That's when investors in that world start buying the shares because they're now cheaper. They sack Ollie and employ Antonio Conte, share price will hit a brand new high. They'll sell some more shares and the Glazers will make 150 million quid out of sacking Ollie and bringing in a new manager. And that is all they care about. So I don't even think they're doing it for the right reasons, but I can certainly see him being gone sometime soon. Sorry, I cut in front of you there, Aaron. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to touch on what Daniel said. I hear what you're saying in terms of like Manchester United trying to build a squad with the type of players that we brought in the last years. But what people seem to forget is that we've got someone in Cristiano Ronaldo who came out multiple times before he even started his first game and kept talking about winning. Ronaldo's not here. He's not here to follow any process. He's not got time for this. He's 36. He's turning 37 in Feb. So, and he's here till he's 38, 39. He ain't got time for no process. He's here to win now. So if you bring in an Antonio Conte, he's going to win him some titles. And ultimately, that's what Cristiano Ronaldo wants. I don't even think he cares about any process. He's here because obviously he loves the club, but he's here to win. And the team we have right now is disjointed anyway. Like the way I look at certain players that we have sometimes when we line them up is so disjointed. So you're better off bringing in a manager that will know how to play with a disjointed team and win us a title.
I don't know how you could ever consider Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job as safe at any stage of his Manchester United career. Genuinely, how he got the job is beyond me. And that's the most worrying thing. You know, like I'm not getting into the whole Glazer thing because I have different opinions to you, Terry, on the Glazers and what Man United fans' attitude is towards them, especially at selective times, i.e. this Sunday. But his job can't be safe. And the only reason he's still there for me is that he's a yes man to the Glazers. Okay, and that's and it's interesting why Rodgers is 4-1 for that job, because he's another one. So, that would suit the Glazers. Although he's a former Liverpool manager, Rodgers would go in there and yes or no, so 3 bags full. So that's what he would do. So that's why he's on that list. But people talk about, and we've had this, Terry, on your show and mine, conversations about Manchester United and the plan going ahead. And we both agreed that at some stage you will have to put a long-term plan in place and just take their medicine for a couple of years. But they're taking medicine year after year here and doing nothing about it. Like Louis van Gaal is not a long-term project, never was. Jose Mourinho is not a long-term project, never has been. So it just seems to me like they've gone for quick fix, hasn't worked. They've gone for Solskjaer, and they've pretended to be a project, but at the same time, they have a manager that won't go against them. And if you look at the list of people that are linked with the job, like you have on screen, right? Pochettino, I think his chance is gone. I think he had a chance probably 10, 12 months ago to take United's job, and he didn't push it hard enough, in my opinion. I don't think PSG job has done him any favours, and I still think he might have Liverpool in the back of his mind when the Liverpool job comes up, because someone mentioned that Klopp, his contract is up in 2024. Hopefully he extends, but personally I don't see it happening. When you look at Zidane, he's too headstrong for them. This is a man that goes up against Real Madrid's owners and then just tells them, I'm out of here. Doesn't care, and has to be begged to come back. So I can't see Zidane happening. Could be a good fit, but I don't think you have to remember it's not only a footballing fit, it's a financial fit and it's a brand fit for United in particular. You look at I'll get on to Conte in a minute. But Zidane to me is very headstrong, and he's there's a bit of Mourinho in him when it comes to, that's my opinion, and I'm not moving for you. And I agree. I think the France job is one that he's definitely eyeing up, and if he gets a chance that he will absolutely take. Just because what he's done in the game with Real Madrid in particular, like multiple Champions Leagues and stuff like that. Conte looks made for it, and the reason he looks made for me is because A, he's won a Premier League, which he done really, really well. B, the squad. I think the squad is really good at Manchester United. If you have a brave manager that's willing to actually change things every couple of games, even, and he fits, because I think the Glazers could put up with him for 2 or 3 years if he put a couple of trophies on the board and then had a big falling out and he left. I think they'd absolutely deal with that. There's no issue, because you talk about share price. Sacking a fella and bringing someone in raises your share price. Winning Premier League titles and European Cups doubles that share price, in terms of what it's going to rise off the back of an appointment. So for United, we're still sitting here and we still don't know if it's a long-term plan. We don't know if it's a quick fix plan. And at the end of the day, we still won't know when Conte comes in or anybody else, because they simply don't make those decisions. They don't come out and be open about it, and that's probably the biggest thing where United fans have a problem. What is the plan? And I tell you, if Conte takes the job, which I would fear as a Liverpool fan, Conte taking the job, I'll be open about it. But we're still 18 months, 2 years away from thousands of fans at Old Trafford having an absolute breakdown, in my opinion.
We'll see what happens. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of looking at what our partners today, Bet Victor, have got to say on this. As mentioned, you can see they've actually Antonio Conte's name is there. You can see it 5-1. You've still got Poch and Rodgers there, Zidane at a 12-1 there. But I do think with this news, and I do understand that maybe it's a little bit premature talking about a new manager coming in, because if Ole does do a madness and wins 2 or 3 of his next games, this noise will all go away. But I am going to stick a little bit of a flutter here on Antonio Conte, mainly because if this news continues to come in, maybe we lose to Atalanta this week, those prices are gonna shorten. So I'm gonna stick a little bit there, a little bit of a stake. I'm gonna put a little £5 in there today on Antonio Conte being the next Manchester United manager. If you've got your account ready with Bet Victor or you fancy signing up today, remember you do get a £5 free. When you bet £5, you get a £30 free bet. If you're an existing customer, they've got a number of offers available in their loyalty club, so go and check that out. The links for these different odds that I've got up are all in the description below. But always remember to bet and gamble responsibly. Only bet with what you can afford to lose and all that jazz. Don't mess about with your rent money or bill money or anything like that. I only personally bet small amounts like this. So I'm going to put that £5 bet on Antonio Conte to be the next Manchester United manager, just in case this news starts to pick up a little bit of pace. I don't want to come here tomorrow and it's 2-1 on or odds on. There you go. That's been placed. That bet has been put on successfully there. I want to go to some comments that have come through. Some super chats have come in. First one, I missed putting up on the screen, but it said Conte has a history of clashing with boards that won't back him. Him clashing with United's board is only a matter of time. Jeannie says, big up to Jess for showing love to Liverpool on her channel. Mane 100 goals, no pens. Salah top 5 in the world on form. Man United will fall on Sunday. Michael here with a super chat says, a little off topic. I just want to ask you guys, which is the worst, Jose treatment of Schweinsteiger or Ollie's treatment of... we'll come to that question in a minute, Michael. I'll definitely come back to that. It's a great question. It is a good question.
That's a very good one.
As a lifelong Tampa Bay fan, the Glazers are the problem. Listen, every Man United fan knows they're the problem in terms of getting things right. Hakeem says, I rate Rodgers, but I want nothing else from Leicester. Obviously scarred. I don't want Rodgers just because he was a Liverpool manager. I'm really pathetic like that. He's tarnished as far as I'm concerned. You know, if I look at it this way, I would never date a woman who slept with one of my brothers. It's the same emotional feeling for me. I don't want a manager that's been...
How did we get here?
I'm giving you the emotional connection here. Like,
it's in United's blood though to do that.
To what?
Whoa.
Not mine, bruv. Hey, listen, let me just tell you now. Me and my brother, we don't dip our wick in the same pot. That's all I'm saying, bruv. Like, never happening. Never happening. Yeah, I've got a story about that, but that's for off camera. This is a great story. I just can't say. Okay, not to do with me. My two other brothers is a funny story. Oh, the fight we had to break up is amazing. But there we go. I wouldn't want that. But give us your thoughts and feelings. Oh, back to that question real quick. That's a really good question from Michael. Whose treatment was worse, Schweinsteiger's on behalf of Jose, or Ollie's of Donny van der Beek? I'm going to give that to Aaron as a United fan. Obviously, you experienced both. Which do you think's worse?
I think I'm going to go for Jose's treatment of Schweinsteiger because... I think... No. You know what it is, yeah? With Schweinsteiger...
I know what you're going to say here, and I think I agree with you. Go on.
He made him train with the reserves, man. Like, he's a World Cup winner. Like, come on. This guy has done... so many things with Germany, with Bayern Munich. He was a certified legend at that time already. And you're making him train with the reserves.
The thing is, he was already a certified legend, right? He's already a certified legend. He came to Man United. It wasn't the best Schweinsteiger. It wasn't the best.
It was more than not the best.
It was not the best version of him at all. Donny van der Beek, he was primed. He was destined to become this amazing midfielder. He was destined. Ollie, in one season, has turned his destiny upside down, fam. That's
Anita,
madness.
Let me even add on to that. It's the fact that we've just spent the whole weekend hearing how Ollie's an incompetent manager. Gav has also mentioned the fact that he doesn't even know how Ollie got the job. And now he has this gem of a player who had one of the best Champions League campaigns and somehow has a reason for not using him, especially when the midfield is in a dire state.
Yeah,
itself.
Let me tell you what I think of the reason of this, and this is why I agree with the original point. What Mourinho was doing to Schweinsteiger was just classic Mourinho, right? Because he can be a prick at times, right? And he was just being a prick, right? That's it. What you're seeing with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a complete lack of bravery, all right? And for me, Donny van der Beek walks into that Manchester United side, and I mean walks into it, because what United are crying out for me is Matic is not there, is not up to it. Fred is not up to it. They have good. I think Pogba's brilliant if you put him in the right atmosphere and the right team and the right system. I think you watch him at times; he's phenomenal. You have got Fernandes, but they're missing somebody. McTominay does a little bit of this because he's kind of a bit all action, but they're missing somebody that can take a ball deep, move with the ball, get forward, get beyond forwards, find pockets of space, be creative. Watch him, go and watch him away at Real Madrid for Ajax in the European Cup quarter-final to 17-18, I think. And, 18-19. And he is everywhere. And people come off saying, the young lad in midfield that plays for Barca now, De Jong, was outstanding. Watch Donny van der Beek in that game. He's head and shoulders above everybody. And it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's lack of bravery in choosing players is the reason. And that's why I think the Schweinsteiger stuff is more harsh. But Solskjaer just keeps doing it. Put the same 11 on as much as I can and hope something happens. And unfortunately, Donny van der Beek is probably the biggest victim of it.
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting? Yeah. Do you know what? I would say it's a toss-up between Ollie's incompetence. Jose's was... I don't want to say the word malicious, but it was like he didn't need to treat him that way, and he obviously knows what he was. It's a really good toss-up, really, between the two.
Didn't want to play a pensioner, like
do you know what, Neeks? Neeks, you would defend Jose to the hilt. We've got some more news. This is from Paul Hurst from the Times.
I've literally just seen it.
This is an update from Paul Hurst on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It says that sources say the atmosphere amongst the Man United squad is flat. Some players are understood to be concerned about the morale of the group. Ole kept the Man United players in the away dressing room at the King Power Stadium for 45 minutes at full time. As a result, the team bus had to be held while Ole fulfilled his media commitments. So again, you can't read too much into it, but this is like Paul Hurst, a very respected journalist now. The squad's coming flat. It's just, this feels very different from other previous times where his job's been on the line. But I think this week is what matters. If they lose to Atalanta and Liverpool, for me, dead as a dodo in the job. But viewers, we're going to move on and talk a little bit of Arsenal versus Palace. We've got the Champions League talk to come, and we've got a new little game we're going to add into the show called Good Take, Bad Take, where we're going to look at a couple of tweets that have gone a little bit viral today and get the panel's opinion on them. Please make sure you've smashed that like button. Not enough of you have done that yet. Get your super chats in as well. Let's move on to Arsenal versus Palace. Big game this evening, Jess. There's been a lot of results this weekend, some slip-ups, Spurs winning, Man United maybe opening this top 4 race door for yourselves. How are you feeling ahead of this game at the Emirates tonight?
Oh, I hate Monday games. It just takes too long for our game to get here. And then the very next week, we play Aston Villa first. So now what people have done is they've looked at the table and thought, oh, well, if we win today and then we beat Aston Villa, we'll be in the top 4. I don't want to think that hard. I don't want to think that hard because honestly, it's a home game, but it doesn't really matter to me. I don't even care what the lineup is because I know on paper we're a better team than they are regardless. We need to perform and we need to win. Like, we actually just need to win the game. And like, I'm afraid that we won't, just because I know we're super inconsistent. And I don't think Palace is the type of team that's just going to lay down. I think they feel different under Patrick. I think he's done a good job with the new players that he has, and the team is a lot younger. They're going to press us and they'll be up for it. And I don't know. Sometimes I just don't think the team is up for it the way that they need to. So I can't really think beyond this game. I know a lot of Arsenal fans are like, let's win this game and the next one and we'll be in the top 4. Let's just focus on this. I can easily see us drawing this game, a 1-1. I'm still not convinced that we score enough goals. I don't think them scoring an international break has anything to do with what they're going to do for Arsenal. Almost our entire team scored during international break. They're not going to bring any of those goals back for us, I don't think. So I'm excited. I'm not nervous just yet. I actually don't care about the lineup at all. I can probably tell you what it's going to be. It doesn't matter. On paper, we'll be better than them, but we have to perform like it. So I'm not 100% convinced, but we should be beating Palace at home. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Daniel, a lot of Arsenal fans have become really, really confident in the build-up to this game. So confident. This is a short clip from Friday night on the terrace. This is how confident they're getting.
Those 4 games. But first of all, I do respect Palace. I do respect your fans a lot.
Yeah.
I do appreciate Patrick Vieira. And I will like to say, because I've been to Palace games when they've come to the Emirates, they are some of the loudest fans in the league. They're some of the most respectful fans in the league. So fair play to you, but you're getting smashed.
You got his confidence. Hold on.
And that goes on for a bit. He ends up predicting a 4-1 win for Arsenal tonight. Do you feel that Arsenal fans are getting a little bit ahead of themselves at the moment and maybe they need a few more solid performances first? Or do you actually look at this and go, do you know what? Palace are trying to open up. That means there's going to be space for the Gunners to expose tonight, and they will therefore smash them.
I mean, look, it's been the telltale signs of Arsenal Football Club for a long time. I mean, when the fans do get confident, it does take like a defeat, like against someone like Palace, to slap them back down to earth. I mean, it wasn't too long ago where we had a couple Arsenal fans cough, backtracking and saying now they're going to finish in the top 4, or they can get top 4 place. Like it's the I wouldn't call it audacity because I respect the fact that they're fans of their football club, so they have to believe. If they don't believe in their club, no one else will. So they have to believe in what they're trying to achieve as a club and where they're taking them. And if they're getting results, then obviously they're going to think that. But come on, man, let's be serious. Let's be real for a second. Like we can't forget what happens when Arsenal do gain a bit of confidence. We're looking at the certain situations within the squad. I mean, Arteta getting manager of the month. I think he deserved to get it, but let's put some context to it. Wins against Norwich and Burnley are hardly wins of the week or wins of the month. But again, if we're looking at it in isolation, Arsenal obviously had a great month. They did well. A Brighton game, which Brighton dominated and should have won. They managed to get a point from that, which is good for them. But let's be real about Arsenal. Arsenal aren't finishing in the top 4, and Arsenal, I don't think, will even finish in the Europa League places this year either.
In terms of tonight's game, Aaron, who do you fancy? Who do you reckon is going to pick up the points tonight?
I think it's going to be a very tight game because Patrick Vieira got Crystal Palace actually playing football, which is something they haven't done in a very long time under Roy Hodgson. It's been a lot of long balls to to Wilfried Zaha. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can bail us out. And I think Vieira got he got some younger players in as well. I think I've been very impressed with Gallagher in midfield. And they're just playing football, man. And it's gonna be a tough game. I reckon it's gonna be a draw. I don't think there'll be a winner tonight. I think it'll probably be a 1-1 or 2-2 draw. But I do think Arsenal will have a hard time. Will have a hard time coping with Crystal Palace's football tonight.
Yeah, what were you saying, Neats? What did you fancy for this one?
I'm so sorry. Are we just gonna walk over the fact that Daniel basically said Arsenal have no chance of Europe, Arsenal are this, Arsenal are that? I thought that was disrespectful personally. I would
okay.
I'm just saying that was a little bit. Your tone was just a little bit menacey, but it's fine. It's fine. We can just walk over it. I think Arsenal have a very good chance today. Like we've all said, it's going to be a difficult match. At the end of the day, Crystal Palace, there are no pushovers. And I said it last time. I think we had this conversation last week about it. I said it that Arsenal, Crystal Palace, their progression has kind of been similar this entire season. So they're both right now on kind of a high. I see Arsenal getting a lot better and a lot stronger. Same thing with Crystal Palace. But Conor Gallagher, I just can't not talk about Conor Gallagher at this moment. Conor Gallagher in that midfield is going to run absolute riot, and it's up to Arsenal to see what their answer to Conor Gallagher is, because I do believe that you take Conor out of the situation and it's a bit more static for Crystal Palace. It's a bit more, how can we transition into attack for Crystal Palace? So it depends how Arsenal handle that and how Arsenal going forward as well, because of course, they have to bury their chances at the same time. So it's going to be an interesting match. It's going to be very close. But I do think Arsenal can possibly take the 3 points. If not, at least take a draw. I don't see Crystal Palace getting one up on them. But yeah, it's going to be a tight match.
Can I say something really quick, just for everybody to? I know it probably won't make that big of a difference to most of you guys, but Zaha won't be playing today, and I think that that's a big deal for us. That's one less really good attacker that they have on the pitch. So when you take away Zaha, you give yourself more of an opportunity to open up because you're not as afraid on the break. I Eze either. So that's a huge difference maker there. And I feel like we're going to go really attack minded. Conor Gallagher is a very good player, and I do think that he'll cause us some issues. But I think on the other end, Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka can do that as well. So we'll see. Definitely going to be close, but Zaha being out, that makes me happy, not gonna lie.
Yeah, there's a tweet that's just come out from Alan Clark he works for everybody actually. I'm looking at it here. Talk Sport, BT Sport, The Athletic, directly for Arsenal, the Premier League. He works for the lot. He said a very attacking Arsenal 11 is about to be announced. So a very attacking team from Arsenal tonight. So it looks like we're in for a really, really good game. All that being said, then we're going to take a look here. The link, by the way, for the odds and all the different areas that you can have a little bit of a flutter on when it comes to Arsenal versus Palace tonight are available in the description, and they are currently pinned to the live comment section. But what are we saying? I'm gonna give this to you, Jess, to pick. What am I doing here tonight? I'm gonna do a little bit of a boosted bet, like Saka to score the first goal, Arsenal to win and both teams to score. That's quite a good one. What do you reckon?
Arsenal to win. Arsenal to win, both teams score. I think that's
pretty
one.
good. Boosted odds right now with Bet Victor, ladies and gentlemen, at 11-4, as you can see there. I think I've put that into my betting slip. Is that in there? No, that isn't what I've done. I've got to work. I'm doing this live on the air, you see, so I'm trying to work out. That should have put it in there. Right. Why is it not working? I'll work that out in a moment, how to do that. But that's what I'm going to put it on. I mean, it's not a bad go, though. It's not a bad go. I'm going to refresh my page. That might be what it is. And then I'll be able to do it. Technical issue while we're live, but it's okay. That's worked now. They've refreshed it and it's worked. And now my whole screen's taken about 6 months to load. We'll get there in the end. But I'm looking forward to it tonight because Palace, I mean, the football they're playing now, though, compared to what they're doing under Hodgson is just mad. Again, it's one of those little things that just makes me really angry as a Man United fan at the moment. When I see Brentford and Brighton and Palace, I can understand teams that are on our level in terms of spend and money and stature playing better football than us or playing good football. But when I see teams with budgets like, well, look at Brentford as an example. Their new stadium costs 70 million quid. Like when I see them playing some of the best football in the league, it troubles me. It really does. Right, we've got that working now, as you can see. That's up on the screen. So I'm going to stick another. I'm going to put 5 on that tonight on Jesse's say so. There, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to place that bet. That is done. That is dusted. That is over the line. There we go. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking Champions League. We're going to be looking ahead to Liverpool, City, Chelsea, and Manchester United's games. Make sure you've smashed that like and that share button. Let's do it. Big Champions League week ahead. Kind of simplistic game for Chelsea. We may touch on that a little bit. I mean, you guys could probably rotate, do whatever you got to do. Is it Malmo you're playing? Yeah, fairly easy game there. But Liverpool I want to touch on first, Gav. You know, a really tough away game in Spain to Atletico Madrid. Of course, you know, in recent, you know, you didn't fare too well in the end in terms of results a couple of years ago in the knockout stages. How do you feel ahead of this game, and how confident are you of getting a result?
Yeah, it's. I think it's the last full game at Anfield, isn't it? Before COVID kicks in against Atletico, and Liverpool were brilliant that night, believe it or not. But the guy in goal that forgot to use his arms, so that didn't work out too well. This one, it's a tough game. It's Atletico Madrid. It's in Madrid. It's Simeone and all his lads. So you know it's going to be a hard game. It's a massive game for me, Terry. I think a good result here shapes Liverpool's next 6 to 8 weeks for me, and the reason being is because, you know, we've 5 days rest to United, which is fine, but the knock-on effect of, say, winning tomorrow night is you're basically through in the group. You know, you're 9 from 9. You've 3 games left. You know, Porto have to come to Anfield. You know, Atletico have to come to Anfield, and you have to go. I think Milan is the last group game, but you should have it all done and dusted with 2 games to go, which means that you can rest for them games, and you can also rotate a little bit for league games because you have a bit more freshness. So it's a huge game. It's a very difficult one. The group is still, you know, I think Milan are on 0 points. I think Porto have a point that they got away in Atletico, and then you have us on 6 and Atleti on 4. So it's still tight-ish, but a win tomorrow night I think puts the group to bed more or less for Liverpool, and a tough one going over there, but I expect us to go very, very strong with that 5-day rest to United on Sunday. And I think we just sneak it. I don't think I've seen Atletico a little bit this season, and they haven't been the same Atleti for me that you've seen over the past couple of seasons. And I've more confidence in Liverpool if Atleti go and sit back than I would have in previous occasions. If they sit back, I think Liverpool have enough to open them up, and I think Liverpool edge by the odd goal.
Anybody see this being a potential banana skin for Liverpool?
Not a chance. I'm so sorry, not a chance. I have not watched Atletico to the degree where I can say that they're pants at the moment, but I've watched glimpses to say they are not what they were last season. So I'm just stick my money all on Liverpool, throw the whole cow on Liverpool. Absolutely no chance they're stopping Salah and Mane. They're probably, you know, let me not say they're going to have a field day, because Simeone is probably going to put all of his 11 men behind the halfway line, all of them. So maybe a cheeky 1-2 goals from Liverpool. But yeah, this is all Liverpool, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I can't see Atletico doing anything. I mean, I still can't forgive Simeone for what he's doing with Joao Felix, man. Man got him playing like wing backs and all these things, and I'm like, oh, you're destroying the kid's career, man. It's so criminal. I'm telling you, I feel sorry for Joao Felix. I honestly do. So I can't see anything else but a Liverpool win. I think they'll score maybe 3 goals, and then they'll take the strongest players off for Sunday against us, and then they'll probably just grind it out.
I'm going for an Atleti win. Obviously, I understand what you're saying, but I have watched Atletico Madrid. They haven't been as good as they were last season, but I mean, they just beat Barcelona. And I think, look, at the end of the day, when it comes to Champions League ties, you look at what happened to Juventus against Chelsea. We were expected to go there and blitz Juventus. Juventus were in a poor run of form as well. I think what we do is, let me not generalize here, but I think what a lot of fans do is that when English teams go to European clubs that are not playing great or not as good as our English teams, we tend to put ourselves on a pedestal. And I think we have to remember there are a lot of good teams in Europe, and there's a reason why Atletico Madrid and Simeone have been one of the most difficult teams to play. And Simeone's style is suited to the Champions League, suited to the way Liverpool play. He wants to soak up that pressure. He wants to hit them on the counter attack. So I think he can definitely get the 3 points in this one. And I think it makes the group more interesting. I think it would just be too easy for Liverpool to have made their group a formality after 3 games. So I think I'm going for an Atletico Madrid win.
It's interesting. Sorry. What you can say, Jess? Sorry.
No, all I was going to say is I don't think it's going to be like a really easy game, because we all know that they're going to sit behind the ball and try to counterattack. I think they'll block Liverpool off for a long time. I think Liverpool may struggle to break them down for a while, but I envision at a certain point they'll break through. I see like a 1-0 or a 2-0 for Liverpool, but I think it'll be one of those where it'll take like 60, 70 minutes to do it, because I've seen Simeone's teams bunker in, and they may not have anything going forward, but what they can do is defend. And when he says defend, they do it. So that's kind of what I would envision seeing, but I still think Liverpool will beat them 1-0 or 2-0.
Interesting there. I mean, Liverpool are so good at the minute. We've got a very special bet that I've constructed myself for this game. So I made it up. It's my idea. I'm very proud. My name's on it. I'm happy. We'll put that up a little bit later. Very quickly on the smaller games this week, and I mean that with all due respect to Chelsea and City. From a Chelsea point of view, of course, you play Malmo. Would you expect Anita to rotate for that game and maybe give a few players a rest, or is it a case of no, play the strongest team, get the victory, and maybe make the subs later in the game?
Bro, I wish I could tell you who our strongest team is. Like, it's so difficult to even tell you who will start that game, because I feel like anyone can start that match and we can still be as strong as we need to be. Like, our strongest team, I think we fielded a very strong team against Juventus last time around, and we looked absolutely horrible. We fielded a strong team against Man City. We looked absolutely horrible. What could have looked on paper as not our strongest team? I think we fielded that against Brentford, and we weren't the greatest, but we were fine. We were able to hold on, So I don't know what our best team is at the moment. I think this would be a good time for Tuchel to experiment. So he went with the 3-5-2 again over the weekend. Maybe he'll stick with that. Maybe he'll, change it up a little bit. Maybe Ruben will come in. In fact, Ruben started on the weekend. Ruben will stay in, see who he fancies better alongside with Ruben. I don't know. Maybe Callum will finally get some minutes. It's all if, buts, and maybes at the moment, because there's not really a set 11 that I personally as well would like to see. No one is really catching my eye for me to say, you have to play this match. And no disrespect to Malmo, giving them the absolute respect, but this is a match that we can afford to kind of test out the waters and see who we can potentially field. And I would love to see Callum Hudson-Odoi. I would love to see Ziyech, even though I know Daniel's probably going to look at me crazy. I would love to see Ziyech in this match. At the end of the day, I don't think any of our players warrant a start at the minute. I don't think Kai Havertz warrants a start. I don't think Hakim Ziyech warrants a start. Timo Werner, even Lukaku, I don't think he warrants that start. No one in our midfield as well warrants a start. I know it sounds crazy, but everything is all up in the air. It's all ambiguous for me at the moment. I don't care who we field. I just hope Tuchel uses this opportunity to say, all right, we've got the better squad anyway. Let's see what we can put out there, and let's see what works, and let's try and fix this team, because at the moment we're top of the league, but boy, we're really scraping that.
Yeah, but I think that's what I would even touch on. Like the biggest advantage and the biggest asset that Chelsea Football Club currently have to us is the fact that we're not in form, but we're top of the league. And I think that is something that plays into our hands a bit, that we haven't got our guys fully in form yet. There's literally I wouldn't even, apart from Ruben Loftus-Cheek, there's not one form player currently in our squad. There's no, maybe Rudiger as well. Rudiger's performances haven't really dropped. But in terms of the players that you really want, like the attacking guys, I don't think anyone's in form right now. I literally was saying it earlier on the terrace. I was saying when Lukaku, even though I was doing like all my propaganda and that won't stop, but when Lukaku was scoring 2 goals from 0.5 chances created in a game, like I was saying, it's not sustainable currently, our attack, the way that we're attacking. We're not creating enough chances for the striker that we bought, and we spent this much money on. Now that Lukaku's goals have dried up, obviously people are I would say rightfully, because they're always going to banter the person who we spend the most money on, but people are now bantering him. But there's deep-rooted issues within. You look at what Paul Scholes said, for example, as well in the recent what was it called, the overlap thing on Sky Sports. I mean, it makes you question a lot of Paul Scholes, the great player, but the analyst is very, very questionable. Like very, very questionable.
Daniel, that's exactly why when he was playing, he was never allowed to do interviews.
Yeah,
yeah. Man got escorted. Man got escorted by a chaperone from the changing room to the car. Don't chat to no one. Put your head down, Paul. Don't speak. We cannot allow it. And it's mad.
I think that's scary, though. I think a player of his intelligence, a player of his, like, it just doesn't make sense. How have you come to the? Because I really wanted, and the thing that Lewis, I know, sorry, we're changing the subject a bit, but the thing that I was really annoyed that Lewis didn't touch upon was Paul Scholes literally played with so many players that were not names. He literally won so many titles that in another team they wouldn't have performed at the same level. Look, I'm so sorry, Darren Fletcher. He's not winning league titles for other clubs. Tom Cleverley, he's not winning league titles.
Yeah,
it's true.
But you've gone a little bit extreme now, because those guys.
No, the names. I'm sorry, the name.
You don't bring those names up around Terry now.
Look at this.
No, what you've gone. You haven't got me. You've gone to the extreme with it, right? You've gone to the extreme with it in the sense of Fletcher was actually quite good. Like everyone raves about Jordan Henderson now. That's Fletcher level. But like the Cleverley was never pivotal. He was winning with Michael Carrick next to him, who was a don, bruv. Like or Keane before him, and they were both names. But I hear you. I know we're going slightly off subject in relation to that. I'm assuming we're all predicting a Chelsea win tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah, I bet we are. City, we predicting a away win against Bruges, or
no, I wouldn't.
What you say? Yeah, actually, I'm going to ask you, as you are German, French, Belgium, Italian, Spanish, English, everything. I'm going to ask you because obviously you know someone there. You better, get it. Club Bruges. I mean, they did well in their opening game, didn't they, against PSG? They could do it again.
Played very well, man. They've got some very young, talented players up front. I'm thinking of Noah Lang, who comes from the Ajax Academy, who's already linked with Arsenal. They've got a really good squad, man. And one thing I like about Bruges is that they know that they play in a league that's not top 5, probably not top 10 in Europe. But my God, when they play, they're just different animals. And they took the game to PSG in their first game, and I wouldn't be so sure to say that City are going to go there and win comfortably. I wouldn't say that.
You know, when you have like a team full of kids that know that they're talented, but they know that like they really have no business getting out of this group. They're in a group with Man City and PSG, 2 teams that have to win the Champions League. You easily become a banana skin because you're like, who cares? Let's just go after it. And then when they played against PSG, they looked like they had that attitude of like, who cares? Let's just go for it. It could be a potential banana skin if Man City is not up for it. Because those young kids don't care at all. They don't care at all. So it should be an interesting game. I would expect Man City to win, but I could easily see something weird happening as well. You know, you never know.
Before you go into that comment, because I saw you put that comment up and I saw your eyes go red. But just to add to that, I was literally going to say what Jess just said as well. Like they have nothing to lose. Like I'm looking at this match thinking the way they played PSG was a mad thing. Like it was absolutely beautiful football to watch. Yeah. So I'm looking at it this way. It's gonna be a very close matchup. Do I expect Manchester City to win? Yes. Do I think they're gonna win? I'm not too sure. I think they might come out with a draw. I know you're shaking your head. I know you're shaking your head, but you're the one that was saying Atletico's gonna beat Liverpool. Sorry, bro.
Atletico beating Liverpool and Bruges beating Man City.
No. Do you know what?
Do
you know what it is?
Have messed up before against teams lesser than that.
Do you know what?
Do you
know what I'm gonna do? You and Aaron have convinced me. I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna get it up on the screen. I'm gonna have a little bit. I'm gonna go check the odds here. I'm gonna go check the odds on a Bruges win. The odds are good. Look at the odds here. A Bruges win is 21 to 2. So you're that's almost 10. It's just over 10 to 1. Right? Even a draw though. So I'm fancying sticking a little odds here. A little £3.50 bet. I'm going to do a little one on a draw. Because you know what? I've got a feeling now you've convinced me. What might happen, they're going to lead and then late concede a goal. Right? I'm going to go for one. Them ones where you're gutted for the team because they don't quite get the win. That's what I'm going to go with. A little £3.50 bet on that with Bet Victor this evening. That's done. That's in. That is locked in. I know we spoke a lot about Man United already tonight. How are you feeling, Aaron? You confident? Atalanta smashed 4 goals in at the weekend. Are you confident going into this game on Wednesday night or not so much?
I'm not confident at all, I have to be honest. I think the best we can get out of this game is probably a draw. Even if it's at home, our home form has been awful. We've let way too many teams come to Old Trafford and just one sec.
Yeah, he might. I don't know how long he's gone for, but I could pick up. Yeah, we have. I'm nervous. I'm legitimately nervous about this game as a Manchester United fan, and it's a killer. Sorry, you both make me laugh. I'm trying to stay professional here, and I can't. Well, yeah,
it is kind of funny, but
he had to go. I'm intrigued to know what it was now. Daniel's systems let him down. He might be back in a few moments. But yeah, I'm going with the Man United defeat, if I'm being honest, to a point where it's one of my specials that I created. One of my specials that I created was Atalanta to win. Yep, Football Terry special. The link's in the description. Atalanta to win, both teams to score, and over 3.5 goals in the match. 12 to 1 boosted odds with Bet Victor because we're going to concede goals. We have no defensive structure at Man United right now. But we've got gunmen ourselves. We can score, especially with Rashi being back. Oh, so happy he scored, right? So I'm gonna do that now. That is my 12 to 1 bet, boosted odds exclusively via the Football Terrace. You can get that on Bet Victor now. All the links are below. 12 to 1, and I'm gonna stick 10 quid on that happening. 10 of my English pounds. I'm putting on that. Both teams to score. Atalanta to win, over 3.5 goals in the game. I can see more than 4 goals going in. Because we can't defend. Legit, we can't defend. And it's even going to be worse than that. It's going to be worse than that as well. This is how it's going to go. We're going to be 3-0 down and get a consolation goal for me to win my bet. It's going to be one of them ones.
Apologies, guys.
It's all right, mate. No worries.
Yeah, I was literally going to say the same thing. I think we'll concede more than 2 goals. I think defensively, we're just awful, man. I mean, we spent money on our defense to improve it, and we're playing worse football. So yeah, with the likes of, I think, Luis Muriel, Ilicic, and Zapata, I think they'll have way too much for us. And,
are you guys dropping Sancho or for this team?
I think he'll be dropped and Rashford will start because Rashford is Ollie's favourite.
Well, but Rashford's also one of the best players in the world. Let's not forget. Like one game back,
for sure.
Sancho will be dropped and Rashford will be back in the starting lineup. I think Fred and McTominay will be back in the starting lineup. It's going to be the same 4-2-3-1, and it's going to be the same. We can always predict it now. It's going to be De Gea, Shaw, Maguire, Lindelof because Varne's still injured. Wan-Bissaka's going to play.
Maybe
it's going to be Fred McTominay.
He's currently in police custody, according to a report. So, as long as he's out, you know what I mean.
Yeah, if he's there, he's going to play. It's going to be Fred McTominay, Bruno, Rashford, Greenwood on the right probably, and actually no, wait, Pogba. I think Pogba might be on the left, and it's going to be Bruno, probably Rashford on the right, and then Ronaldo up front. And it's going to be a disjointed team once again, and it's just going to be hope and see what happens.
Individual brilliance.
Every
Fair.
time.
But that's letting him down, though. Do you know what's mad as well? I saw something Fabrizio said earlier, and he goes, something Fabrizio has been told, and this is when you know a manager's got to go. Fabrizio said, Ollie is determined to start winning without Donny. So it's almost, I know everyone wants me to play him, so I want to prove I can win without him. Now, that's from Fabrizio, one of the most trusted voices in football. If we're not going to trust Fabrizio, then we might as well not listen to any journalist, right? Because he's the GOAT, everyone tells me. So I'm like, I read that, and I'm like, I can imagine Ollie sitting there with McKenna, with Carrick, going, well, we've got to play Donny. No, I can't do his voice, but just sort of, no, they're just saying, no, I'm going to prove to everybody I can do it without him. It's like, bro, why? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Focus on winning. Like, focus on making
you know what
point.
killed me? You know what killed me as well is after our defeat against Leicester, yeah, I sat there and watched Brendan Rodgers, not the press conference, but the match reaction. And he was there speaking about, I got exactly what I wanted out of my team. I told him we were too passive in the last game, etc. Just giving like constructive criticism. Do you know what I mean? And then Ollie comes out and talks about we should have tackled more, we should have ran more, and we should have blocked more. And I'm just like, this is stuff that my under 16 coach used to tell me when I was playing football, like back in a youth team. Like, what is this guy saying? Like, it's all about, it's never, we never get tactical talk from him. And that's why I think this week's probably going to be the worst for him. Like, these next games, he's probably going to lose them because he doesn't give any of his players constructive criticism. If it's not about running, if it's not about passion, if it's not about desire, if it's not about blocking and tackling, bro, like, yeah, these next weeks are going to be peak, man.
Do you know? Sorry, go on, Jess.
No, I was just going to say, it's probably not that funny, but I would love to see you guys at least beat Liverpool. You know, that would maybe keep Ollie around for a little bit longer, and Liverpool would end their unbeaten streak.
Well, this was the thing for me. Like, I don't want Man United to ever lose, but if we do lose to Liverpool, I would rather be smashed and embarrassed than a tight 1-0 victory for him, because an embarrassment could
be
trigger...
careful, Terry. They'll call you a plastic.
Oh, cool. Do you know what it is with me? It's like the bothered thing. A few weeks ago, I literally put the odds up of what. Literally, this is how mad top Reds have been this season. So I did a video, and one of my kind of sort of sub headlines in my tweet was odds of Ollie being the next manager sacked are like 5-1 or whatever, according to Ladbrokes. Where have Ladbrokes said this? Their website said 20-1. I then showed them the article from TalkSport, and they're like, that's TalkSport, not Ladbrokes. I said, yes, read the article. It literally said a representative from Ladbrokes was live on the air. I heard the guy from Ladbrokes say it live on the air. That's what the odds are. And they're like, that's misinformation. I'm like, speak to Ladbrokes. Like, it's not my fault. They said it. About 3 days later, after we lost a few more games, they were 5-1 odds for him to be the next sack manager. They're crazy, these people right now. They're so... I don't care about being wrong on a football opinion. Who would? It's football. And I'm right about some things, I'm wrong about others. These top Reds right now, they're so desperate to be proved right. But they're wrong about Ollie. He just isn't good enough. And, you know, I was happy for him to stay to the end of the season if the way we played improved with these better players, but we've gone backwards. And even like the likes of man like Alfie that always said, I don't want Ollie out until I see regression, is now saying, well, there's the regression. He's got to go. It's crazy right now. But yeah, I'd rather be smashed by Liverpool than lose to them narrowly. But I'd rather win both games this week. Let me just say, I would rather win both games because I don't ever want my team to lose. But I think we're going to lose them both, and I think we're going to get absolutely smashed. There was one other special bet we had this week, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the end of the show. The other one of my specials was Suarez to score and Salah to score 2 or more in one game. 28-1 boosted odds. I'm going to go stick what I was always going to put on this today. I'm not putting a double. Let me remove that one from there. I'm going to put a little £2 bet on that happening. I can imagine a little Suarez goal, but the form that Mo Salah's in, I'm going to put that in there at 28-1. Both those special links, special odds are in the description below. So go give that a little check out if you can. Zaza here says, big up Terry, big up the channel, especially Aaron. Happy there are some realistic ball-knowing people, and all the love to my queens, Anita and Jess. I don't know what Zaza's accusing me of having no ball knowledge there, but cool. Aaron's here. It's all great. We're good to have him in the house. I think Daniel might be back now. I'm not too sure. It's loading up. We'll get him on in a minute. But we do want to have a little bit of a game this evening. We'll have a little bit of a game before we go this evening. There's a couple of opinions that have gone out on the internet today. and I wanted to gauge your views and opinions on the take or the message that's been put out there. The first one I'm going to share is in relation to Mohamed Salah. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier on in the show, but this is good take, bad take. I want some opinions on this. Let me just make sure this is in screen. Is that, can we see it? There we go. Right. So this is the first one. I'll get Anita's opinion on this first. This is from a Liverpool fan or a journalist who has said that Salah turns 30 this summer and you're locking into an 80 million deal for his years of 30 to 34 years old, which you'll probably walk away for free. So essentially suggesting that giving him this much money and giving him a new deal now is wrong. And at nearly 30, Liverpool should be looking to move him on. Like, is that good or a bad take in your opinion?
I mean, I don't want to say like people don't think things through, but people just don't think things through. Like, I don't know. You've got a player that's giving you minimum 30 goals a season, and you want to let go of him so your team can try and replace him for the next 4 to 5 years, just because you don't want to let him go on a free in 6 years when his career's done. I don't see the logic there. I'm gonna say it's a bad take. I think sometimes you just got to think things through. Like when you've got a player who's delivering that much for you, that much quality, that many goals for you, you are not gonna let, no matter what age he is, you're not gonna let him go. Do you think Real Madrid wanted to let Cristiano Ronaldo go? Do you think that they wanted that to happen? Do you think that Barcelona wanted Messi to go? I'm not saying that Mohamed Salah is as good as the prime Cristiano Ronaldo or prime Lionel Messi, but he's looking to be, able to, I want to be very careful, able to reach that kind of status of legends in the Premier League. If that's the right thing to say. Yeah, I think that was safe. Yeah. He's looking to reach legendary status in the Premier League because of his output and because of what he brings, not just to Liverpool, but to the Premier League and English football as a whole. So you keep a player like that, regardless of how much he's going to cost in the next 6 years. If I could have kept Eden Hazard at Chelsea until his retirement, I would have done that. Do you understand? And Eden Hazard, I hate to say this, but Eden Hazard is not really on the level that Mohamed Salah is right now. Do you get what I'm saying? But I still would have wanted to keep Eden Hazard at Chelsea. So no matter what he's costing right now, you pay the money for Mohamed Salah, you keep it stepping, you swallow the pill. In 6 years' time, when he goes on a free, you would have won a couple of leagues because of him. You would have won a Champions League because of him. You would have won an FA Cup because of him. And that's more important than letting him go on a free in a couple of years' time. Come on, man. Let's think things through.
Yeah. That's a bad take. And like from somebody who has watched two really good players sign huge deals and then fall off a cliff, I can tell you that Salah is nothing like them. Not like Mesut Ozil and not like Aubameyang. Both of those players signed deals because they weren't really going to go anywhere else, and Arsenal needed to pay them to keep them. Like that's pretty much what it was. Mohamed Salah could get into any team in the world right now. If he wanted to walk out, he could. The difference is that I think because Liverpool is so competitive, he's probably in its best possible scenario to win the things that he wants to win again. Another Premier League, another Champions League is probably the best place for him to be. And he seems like the type of player that keeps his body up, that cares, that wants to beat all the records. Aubameyang and Ozil were never those guys. They just wanted I hate to say it, they seem like people that just wanted the paycheck. Okay, that's my thing. So when you look at somebody who's getting into the 30s to 34s, when you look at the Cristiano Ronaldos, the Zlatans, the Benzemas, they have that mindset. And I think Salah has that as well. And Liverpool have all the analytics, the statistics, the fitness, data to let you know whether or not he's going to fall off of that proverbial like age cliff. And I don't think he's going to do that. So bad take. You don't sell your best play. If anything, if Liverpool took another avenue, it would be to let him run his deal down. You don't sell him.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that completely. Gunnar Souls here says it's a 50-50 take. I see where the person is coming from. And the next one, I want to pose this one to Aaron first of all. This is the next one that's come out. This is from I love this guy, to be fair, Dysgenomics, who today said, and you may have already seen this today, he said that Bruno can't dribble, can't beat players. You press him and you take the ball off him or force him into bad passing and crossing. He's weak, slow, worst presser of all time, a burden defensively, absolutely useless in big games, Why do people think he is Zidane? That was what he said there. I want to get Aaron's good or bad take there. I'm not setting you up, Aaron. I'm just putting it out there.
No, it's fine.
It's on the show. What do you reckon?
Okay, there are some outrageous takes in that tweet, but I do agree with the fact that he can't dribble because I haven't seen him go past the player like with a piece of skill or anything. What was the second one again? Can you put up the tweet, please?
Yeah, can't beat a man, can't dribble.
Yeah,
Can't press.
He's not press resistant. He's weak and slow.
It is true that when you press him, he's got the ball. He does this thing where he will just boot the ball, and wherever it goes, that's just where it ends up. And usually, when he does that, it's a cross that just ends up going nowhere. Like in the Leicester game, where he tried to cross it in from the right hand side, and when two players were pressing him, and it just went wide. Or when the ball comes to him, and he's got two players or one player just pressing him, he'll just boot it straight away without even thinking. And usually, because we got quick players up front, the players will run in behind, and then it will turn into a chance. And then people say he created a chance when really and truly he just booted it because he got pressed. So, listen, I've always said with Bruno Fernandes, even though he scores goals and assists, when you don't do that, what do you add to the game? What do you contribute to the game? And recently, when Ronaldo's side, I said, he's going to stop doing this thing where he runs in behind and then scores goals. And he stopped doing that. And if you notice, Ronaldo came in and Bruno's goals have dried up. They've dried up.
I'm sorry, Aaron,
I just want to know what else do you offer apart from goals and assists? As a midfielder, you have to be able to do more. In tight spaces, I don't see you do anything.
That's like me saying to my wife, like, what else do you offer to the table except X
that's
and
different,
X?
bro.
No. Let's be real.
That's
Let's
different.
be
Someone
real
said
because
someone in the comments told me to shut up because he's world class. I disagree.
No, but Aaron, I think you're undervaluing how good Bruno is as a player, and if you do feel like that, I'll phone up Bruno and ask him to put in a bid because, like, if Bruno really was all of that, then he shouldn't be playing for Man United. He shouldn't be getting the level of production he gets in terms of. You can't say except for goals and assists what makes so and so this. Ronaldo, except for goals, what does Ronaldo really offer? And it's the fact that Ronaldo does it at such an elite level that
Go there, Daniel. Don't go there.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth.
I'm not going to get into this.
One sec. Ronaldo is astronomically efficient striker. That is why he's the best in the world at goal scoring. But apart from his goal scoring, I don't think he offers that much. But I would never say take away Ronaldo's goals. Then what kind of that is what he does. So how can
that's the most important thing in the game? Goals and assists.
Okay,
like if you don't have that, you have nothing.
Okay,
the one part of that tweet.
Sorry, go on, Jess, and then I go back to Aaron. Sorry, Aaron.
The only thing I was going to say is that the only thing in that tweet to me that rings true, I think it's still a little bit harsh, is the useless in big games. I think we're still seeing a Bruno Fernandes that maybe doesn't step up against, maybe the big six or in big Champions League games or whatever like that. I get that part. But in terms of he's not press resistant. He's not this, he's not that. In reality, the most important thing in football is goals and assists. And if you can't dribble and you can't beat a man, so what? So you don't beat the eye test. You're not somebody that people want to look at. I don't enjoy watching Bruno Fernandes play. But usually at the end of the game, what I see is an assist there or a goal there or something like that. And that's the most important thing. That's what keeps you in the game. So I think that it's harsh and it is funny because he's not likable. I told Terry this before. Bruno Fernandes gets a lot of stick just because he's not likable. But I think it's over the top. Like, it just is. Like, that is over the top tweet.
Yeah, I sort of feel, do you know, it's a lot of what he's tweeted, I kind of get where he's coming from. Aaron, some of your points, I do get it. I don't necessarily think his balls are all just like, I'm going to knock it into a channel and hope a fast player gets there. I think that's a little disrespectful towards him. The eye test thing, I agree, is true. He's not the greatest at that. But what I find really interesting about lots of Man United players, and it doesn't all come from the same people, and Neek's tweet put this in the group chat earlier, so I'm not going to steal Neek's thought, but it's like nearly every single one of our players, by a large group of people on the football Twitter world or content creators, says they're rubbish or overrated. Then if that's true, they're all rubbish and overrated. Is Ollie as bad as we're making out? Like, if these players are really as bad as Luke Shaw's this, AWB no tech. Pogba's not suited to Man United. McTominay, no good. Bruno overrated. Ronaldo washed. Rashford, no intelligence. Martial isn't as ice cold as we say. You go through it, and every single one of these players, Maguire, worst £80 million ever spent. Luke Shaw, one good season out of everything he's done. Champions League Varane is a pace merchant, or whatever it is. Like, every single one of Man United's players is ripped apart on socials from pillar to post in this same way. If all our bad players are that bad, then Ollie can't be blamed for where we're at. Equally, if Ollie is making us terrible because the system's bad, I just look at all of our players and think, surely we've got to wait until a manager who's good at coaching and good at creating systems before we overtly judge them. Like, that's where when I see a take like that, I'm a little bit like, you can't say that Ollie is the worst coach in the league. No structure, no system, no nothing. And then moan that players are making those kind of mistakes. It doesn't, that is just what doesn't make sense to me, because if Ronaldo and Bruno were playing for Graham Potter, would they make as many mistakes? Would Ronaldo have more chances created for him? Probably, and that's what I want to see. But Aaron, I'm taking it by your point. You think it's a pretty good take, or you agree with parts of it anyway?
Can I just say
pretty
as well,
good. Yeah, go on, mate. Go on.
Because I can see people cooking me in the comments. Listen,
Let me defend myself.
Yeah, man, I've got to. Listen, I'm not saying goals and assists are bad. I'm not saying that. But if there's one thing we've never lacked as a team, it's goals and assists. We never lacked goals. Goals wasn't, it was never the problem. Before Bruno came, Martial was scoring them, Rashford was scoring them. So goals has never been the problem. What my problem is, I want discipline from Bruno. And the reason why I say that is because look how he plays for Portugal. The way he plays for Portugal, the way he wants to play for Portugal is the same way he plays for us. And that's one of the biggest reasons why in the Euros and even now in the qualifier, he's been taken off various times for someone like a Renato Sanchez because he's not disciplined. Why do people keep saying our midfield is not good enough? It's like everyone just runs through our midfield. Why? Because there's no discipline. Everyone is just everywhere. And that's why you see holes in our midfield, because no one sticks to their position. Bruno, half of the time, is just trying to be a number 9. So where's the discipline? Why he's meant to be a number 10. This is what people keep telling me. He's meant to be a number 10, right? So why half of the time your average position is higher than our striker sometimes, even before Ronaldo came?
And bro, I don't think anything you've said there is an unfair criticism. But we're also saying that the manager has no system and it's freestyle. So that's not on Bruno Fernandes. That's on the manager, right? Because it's down to the manager to put him into a position and make him stay disciplined. That's the only area that I defend him. And there's a comment here that says, Terry, basically, why can't two things be true? If all our players are terrible and our manager is terrible, then last season is the most embarrassing season for every other club in Premier League history, barring Manchester City for winning the league. The two things can't be true at the same time, that all our players are rubbish and our manager's rubbish, and we've still been top 4 2 years running. So all banter aside, that can't be true. Like, a squad with a completely rubbish squad with a rubbish manager gets relegated. So let's be very, very mindful of that. But that's good take, bad take. I like stuff like that. It's quite good. I quite like the conversation on it. But Ollie out. Good luck tonight to Arsenal and Crystal Palace. Yeah, mate, go on, sorry.
Just very quick. All I'll say is my last little piece of 2 pence is for United fans. Look, if you're having this level of criticism for Bruno Fernandes, I just need to see the same energy with the most likable player in world football, Paul Pogba. So yeah, let's keep it at that.
I hear you. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, before you leave, smash the like and share button. We're back live after Arsenal Palace tonight for a full fan highlight and reaction show on the terrace. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless. Thank you very much to Bet Victor that power this for us. Go sign up to your free account now. All the links are in the description below.